Hi my friends, thank you for joining me again for Recipes for Survival. Today I'm going to make a dish that's called pasta with sardines, and I'm inspired to make it because I had it last weekend in this horrible, miserable weather at Ferdinando's, a very traditional Italian restaurant in Brooklyn. Killer dish. And of course when I came home and started reading recipes about it, I went, oh my god, it's the perfect recipe for survival, because every single ingredient short of the fennel bulb because they're basic staples. So I would hope you might. So I'm going to get started. The dish is very traditional Sicilian dish. It's sardines. The very special thing is they use golden raisins to cut the sometimes tough taste of sardines. The ingredients in the dish are all trying to balance each other, and it does absolutely beautifully. I didn't have white wine in the house because it's winter and I have red wine. So what I did was I used half a cup of sake and a splash of mirin and a splash of absinthe to rehydrate the golden raisins. Then, of course, we're going to slice the fennel bulb, but what you do is you use the fronds, which we'll mince and chop, and you put that in at the very end. Some toasted pinoles, the little pine nuts, calls for half a cup or something. I had the bottom of a bottle. We'll toast those off. Of course, a can of sardines. I use double layered because they're very thin, very delicate, and they melt and break down beautifully. A half an onion, which I'll mince. I had that left over. We'll do that in a fine dice. And then it also calls for dried breadcrumbs, which you put some olive oil and salt, and you toss that in at the end. And I happen to have breadcrumbs. If you don't have the ingredients, try and still make the dish. Also, the dish traditionally is served with like a bucatini, which is a spaghetti with a hole through it. I don't have that pasta. I have an all-organic tri-colored vegetable radiatore. I'll have close-ups of these. That's what I'm going to use. I'll cook that off in salted boiling water. So how I'm going to get started is prepping the fennel. I've taken the fronds off. It's of course you have to wash it. Just I'm cutting in half this way. You're going to slice the fennel bulb. You cut it in half. Then don't be scared of it because it looks so tough, but it's very easy to cut. Cut the bottom off. And if you feel there's a layer here that just doesn't look right, it's absolutely fine. And then again, you can use this technique, doing it this way, slicing this way. So I hope you have an idea how to cut fennel. Okay, my friends, so that's the fennel chopped. And next thing I'm going to do is the onion. Next thing we're going to do is the onion. I'm going to put horizontal layers through the onion. And then again across the top, which I guess you would call these vertical, just to get a nice dice on the onion. I'm going to quickly toast off the pine nuts. Like I said, pignole. I think it calls for the recipe I read, or the one that I liked the most, called for half a cup. This was all I had left, so I'm going to use them up. And then I'm going to put the breadcrumbs in also. And that'll be one thing that we add at the very end. And like I said, a lot of the ingredients here are ingredients that are basic staples. The only thing I had to go out and get was the fennel bulb, because I've got this over a good medium heat, so I can smell it, and the color is changing. I'm going to get that into a bowl. So this is the toasted breadcrumbs, and I'm just going to add a little bit of olive oil and some, it says salt, but I'm going to use my roti. That's the roti blend of salt of the earth. Spoon. I'm going to just do this. That's it. Now we're going to start to cook off the fennel and the onions. And this will be spooned in at the end when the pasta is warm. Okay, let's get this cooking. I'm going to start by cooking off the fennel and onions. I'm going to put olive oil in the bottom of a pan. I'm over a medium-high heat. A splash of my salt of the earth. And we'll get the onions and the fennel melted. You know, they're cooking. They're not sauteing. You really don't want to get any color in them. And then we'll add the sardines, the raisins in their rehydrating liquid, and then we'll cook the pasta, and I'll show you the rest of the steps. This could take close to 15 minutes for the fennel to get soft. So we'll be right back with you. If you have any questions, please feel free to call, get in touch with me on d@recipesforsurvival.com. Thanks very much. We'll be right back with you. Okay, my friends, the onions and fennel are cooking down beautifully. Actually, a little quicker than I had thought. So what I'm going to do is I'm turning the heat down so that they really sweat and don't get so much color. Dehydrated. The raisins. This is a little too high. And now I'm going to put in half of the sardines. And I brought up the water. I'm just opening this can of sardines. You'll see they're very beautiful. I'm going to use half initially. Get the sardines in, and I have a fork here. And you see they break up beautifully. Like I said, I use the double layered ones. I love tomato paste, so I actually used a little bit more. I'm going to get this in there now. I'm going to use half of what I portioned out and see how that goes. Because the dish that I had at Ferdinando's definitely was in this very delicate tomato paste, tomato sauce. Even though it's sunny out today, it's still cold, so it's sort of a perfect dish for this early spring. I love it, and I love the spring coming and flowers up. Perfect spring dish. What else can I say? I'm also going to prep the fronds of the fennel that we'll toss in when we're prepping the dish. Okay, my friends, so while the water is coming up to a boil for the pasta, I'm going to just roughly chop the fennel fronds. And when I went to the refrigerator to put something away just now, I remembered I had the pepper dews, which are like my favorite thing. So I'm going to toss those in. I did a rough chop of a little bit of the juice that they're in. I'm going to put that in at the end as well. So you can see I'm just running a knife through the fennel fronds, and then I found half of an orange, and I think that's going to be beautiful just squirted on top. I hope you're enjoying Sicilian pasta with sardines, made recipes for survival style. Okay, my friends, the well-salted water has come to a rolling boil. I'm going to get the pasta in here. This is 12 ounces of pasta. wooden spoon, stir it around. I'm gonna cook this for 9 minutes. And then in this bowl, we're gonna mix the warmed pasta with the fennel, onions, sardines, and the rehydrated golden raisins, which were rehydrated in like a little bit of sake, a splash of mirin, and a splash of absinthe. And it's absolutely delicious. And then we're gonna add some of the pepper dews, the chopped up fennel fronds, the breadcrumbs, and squirt and serve as a garnish quartered oranges. And add some more sardines. Okay, my friends, this is the final, this is the end. This is the end. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to reserve a cup of the cooking liquid just in case I want to thin this out. It's always a nice idea. Believe me, half the time I never remember to do it and just dump the pasta out. So I'm just draining the pasta, and as it's still really, really hot, it's going right into this mixing serving bowl. And whoopsie daisy. There's a rotted Tory got away. A rotted Tory got away. And then our fennel, onions, sardines, and golden raisin sauce, which is still warm. That's going to get tossed in here. Anyway, I'm going to serve this. I'm going to eat this. I'm going to get out into this beautiful sunny Sunday. I hope you enjoyed my recipes for survival version of a very traditional Sicilian dish of pasta with sardines, golden raisins, and fennel and onions. Thanks very much. I look forward to preparing finishing the taping, having it on the air, and have great holidays, and be in touch if you have any questions. D@recipesforsurvival.com. Much love. Happy spring.